Welcome to Dump Truck Toolbox. I'm Alan. Today we're going to be talking about offensive driving, idiots, and psychopaths. So if you follow the channel, you know that previously I was a safety manager for a transit bus company. And one of the things I did was teach new bus drivers. And we always had a section on defensive driving and why it's so essential. It's essential really driving any vehicle, but especially driving a commercial vehicle. And so these days I'm a dump truck driver, obviously, but the same principles apply. And so what's up with the idiots and psychopaths? One of the things I used to tell my uh, uh, my new commercial driving students was when you go out on the road, watch out for the other drivers around you, especially for the civilian drivers or the four-wheel drivers, the people, driving their SUV or pickup truck or car, trying to get to work or go shopping or on vacation or whatever. So especially watch out for them. But really, you should watch out for any other vehicle around you. And one of the ways I used to drive the point home was to say, if you assume every other driver around you is either an idiot or a psychopath, you'll be great. Because if they're an idiot, they're doing something dumb, no real malice, just not thinking or not understanding how their vehicle works, or not understanding how a large commercial vehicle cannot maneuver, cannot stop as quickly as their own vehicle. There are idiots out there, people who just don't have the knowledge, experience, or focused attention to drive carefully and to drive carefully around your own vehicle. So those are the idiots. And then there are the psychopaths. Um, and this is not a real psychological diagnosis. You know that, of course. But the people who actually do intend to do things that are potentially dangerous. People who speed excessively, who cut in and out of lanes, who dodge around large commercial vehicles. And so today I want to tell you a story of at least one psychopath and maybe one or two idiots. So I was driving one of my regular material hauling runs in my big orange triaxle dump truck. And I was coming up on one of the busier areas on the interstate. There's an area where they've made the merge safer, no doubt, but it's still dangerous because there's so much traffic joining the main lanes of the interstate. And so I'll show you a little video here. This is the section. This is not from today. This is a previous video I shot. And even if I had the video from today's incident, I definitely would not put it on YouTube. But coming up to this a sort of dangerous merge, I usually move one lane over. So I'm not in the right-hand travel lane. I'm in the second travel lane. And there's a busy ramp, and then there's this sort of service road to get the people coming off the ramp a little bit organized. As I'm coming up to the merge here today, there was I believe it was a box truck. It happened so quickly, some of the details I didn't really get, but I believe it was a box truck who's probably going 5 or 10 miles under the speed limit. I'm in my lane, I'm doing the speed limit, and I'm actually on cruise control. Um, and I see in front of me, about 100 feet in front of me, cars in my lane starting to bunch up. And immediately my defensive driving brain kicks in. Cars should not be bunching up there normally. And so I tap the brake to come off cruise control, and then I leave my right foot over the brake pedal. Just normal defensive driving, cover your brake, as we used to say. And so this box truck is apparently getting up to speed. A car in the merging lanes is coming up on the box truck at a relatively high rate of speed, and cuts across the white lines here. I'll point it out on the video, where the white lines are. But this car is coming up at a high rate of speed behind the box truck, cuts over into these lanes. And so now, probably about 50 feet in front of me is another four-wheeler of some type, SUV or something. And then about even with me or just a little bit behind me is another four-wheeler. And so this car is accelerating and trying to squeeze in, cuts across the lanes, which are not to be crossed. And then one of the two cars on my right blows their horn, basically saying, I don't have any place to go, because the one in front of me would have had to abruptly, switch lanes in front of a big orange dump truck. And the one behind me or next to me would have literally had to run into me to avoid this car. So one of them blows their horn, and so this car is about halfway over, and sees, oh, maybe this is not a good idea, and then brakes really hard. And I believe the car that was on my right or a little bit behind me um, had to brake as well. And then the instigator of this whole incident managed to sneak back in behind the box truck. Okay, now, was that car, the one who dodged out and then dodged back in, an idiot or a psychopath? Well, let me give you one more observation. So all this happens, I apply my brakes. I don't slam them on, because I'm not sure if, how close someone might be behind me, because you can't see behind a dump truck very easily. But I put my brakes on to slow down. Everyone else slows down. The box truck fortunately kept going, so there was actually some room to move back in. Okay, so all good news. No one was harmed. No paint was traded between vehicles. It's all good. It's one of those close calls that could have been a really, really bad accident. I mean, like cars and trucks together on the road. Not a good thing. But was this person who instigated this, were they an idiot or a psychopath? My point is that if you assume people around you are going to do something that would appear stupid or deliberately dangerous, create room in front of your vehicle. And I did that by tapping my brake to come off the cruise control and slowing down, and then be ready for the unexpected. And for me, that was covering my brake with my foot. Okay, very depressing view. Let me give you another very depressing way to look at the world. And so a police chief in a medium-sized city we used to live near once gave a talk where he said, in our area, at any given point in time, about a third of the drivers on the road are under the influence of alcohol or something else. About a third of them have a weapon of some type or another, gun, knife, crowbar, whatever it is. And about a third of them are having some type of emotional turmoil that's basically anger. Okay, so under the influence, armed, angry. Now, this is not exactly a third of the population is each one of these three categories. He said, many of us, we go down the road, we're not intoxicated, we're not armed, and we're not angry. We're driving to get somewhere. He says the problem is when you get combinations, and you put any two of those together, it's bad news. So, intoxicated and armed, angry and intoxicated, angry and armed, or I guess the worst case would be all three. And so the point he was making was keep your eyes on the road and watch out for these people because you don't know who they are. You can't just tell by, glancing at their car. And secondly, never engage. So if someone blows their horn at you, two hands on the wheel. No waving, especially waving with one finger. Don't do that. If someone yells at you, don't yell back. If someone cuts you off, slow down, give them room. Don't engage because you just never know. Okay, depressing view of the world. And for me, those two perspectives, everyone around me is an idiot or a psychopath. And if they're not, I'm going to be pleasantly surprised. And about a third of the people around me are armed, a third of the people are angry, and a third of the people are intoxicated. Okay, that gives me an edge as I go down the road. And that edge helps me stay attentive, constantly be looking ahead for potential risks, and having an exit plan whenever things look like they're not going to be perfectly normal. And so there's the safety manager's lecture based on what happened to me today. So if you found this video useful or interesting or offensive, please hit the like button. And if you found it offensive or you have some other perspective, maybe a story you want to share, go ahead and join the conversation in the comments. Subscribe, please, if you haven't done so already. And I hope to see you again soon on the Dump Truck Toolbox.